Season 2 wrapped up last episode with the Commanders Replacement Squad series. We finished 8 and 9. We gave a lot of the backups a full game to see what they could do, and we learned a couple things. One, the tryouts for both Amir Smith-Marset and Felipe Franks really didn't work out. They were released after that game. We ended up re-signing Jack Cohn and Jesus Baca, one of the guys we sent to the practice squad at receiver early on in this season. They were both re-signed to ensure that no one picked them up from our practice squad during the postseason. The other thing we learned is that we have a very solid developmental guy behind essentially our star player in Shaka Toney, so that should be a nice 1-2 punch. We have definitely confirmed that our running back group is good to go, not a position of need at all. So those two positions, we're good. Everywhere else, I feel I could still use some help. So that's what we're going to be doing this postseason. But before we get there, obviously you're going to have a little bit of some season 2 roundup, starting with the Pro Bowl roster. Did we happen to get anyone on the roster? We'll go through both sides really quickly. At quarterback, we have Hurts, Potter, Lance, Mahomes, Kinney, and Jackson. So I think 2 rookies made it. At running back, Kamara, Walker, Jones, Henry, Jacobs, and Taylor. Fullbacks are Ham, Hughes, Check, Ingold, and Horvath. Receivers, Godwin, Samuel, Evans, Olave, St. Brown, Watson, Diggs, Adams, Ridley, Allen, Chase, and Bell. So maybe another rookie made it. Tight ends, we have Likely, Goddard, Otten, Kelsey, Henry, and Waller. Left tackles, Williams, Bakhtiari, Stanley, and Brown. Left guards, Jenkins, Dickerson, Bitonio, and Nelson. Centers, Kelsey, Ragnow, Humphrey, and Lindsley. Right guard, Lindstrom, Corbett, Smith, and Onwenu. And right tackles, Johnson, Wirfs, Collins, and Smith. So no offensive players for us. And Shaka Toney does make it on the NFC left end one. We'll see what he ended up racking up after we get through this. Next to him is also Hutchinson, Russo, and Autry make it. Right ends, Donald, Bosa, Garrett, and Ngankwe. DTs, Jones, Vita Vea, Brown, Allen, Jones, and Buckner. Left outside linebackers are more just left ends, Hunter, Luvu, Watt, and Bosa. Middle linebackers, White, Barnes, Diablo, and Smith. Right outside linebackers, or right side rush, Smith, Thompson, Milano, and Mack. The cornerbacks end up being Alexander, Woolen, Murphy, Peterson, White, McDuffie, King, and Awuzie. Safeties, Winfield Jr., Diggs, Whitehead, Amos, Williams, Benedict, Simmons, and Moring. Kickers are going to be Blankenship, Fox, Butker, and Gilkin. And the returners are Fuller, Brown, Farrell, and Proch. So unfortunately, we only end up having one, and it's the one that we would all expect to have, with who could have been the leading sack artist this season in Shaka Toney. Now, it does not have him at the top. That would be Hutchinson with 23.5, 22.5 for TJ Watt, 22 for Donald, 18 for Garrett, 15 for Bosa, so on and so forth, but I don't see our guy. So that tells me Madden broke again, and we're gonna have to just check our team specifically, and that should tell us, yeah, Shaka Toney had 28 sacks, setting the record by far. However, for some reason, he's not on the NFL list. Madden, I love you, but you're broken. But as we're talking about stats, let's go through the whole team. Tyler Huntley actually threw more interceptions than touchdowns, 17-19, 59% completion, and threw for just over 2,000 yards. Rushing wise, Borgie was actually close to 1,000, had 6 rushing touchdowns, no fumbles. Turbin had a lot less carries, about half or so of what Borgie had, but it had 7 touchdowns, 332 yards, a rushing touchdown for Tyler Huntley, 2 for Hales, one of which was in the last game, and Jack Cohn also had a rushing touchdown, but he fumbled twice. Huntley fumbled 6 times. Receiving wise, Manny Fox led the team by far with the most receptions, 49, and most yards, 639. Did not lead us in touchdown receptions. He only had 3, while Alton Campbell, the rookie tight end, had 9. 525 yards on 25 catches, not bad at all. 21 yards an average per catch. Bo Melton, who came on strong second half of the season, 6 touchdowns for him, 523 on 36. 2 touchdowns for Justin Ross, who I think came in and played that role fairly well. Does he continue on with us? We'll see really what all of our options end up being. Stoner only had 1 touchdown. He's kind of lost his role. Simi Fehoko really didn't come in and provide a lot of impact, so we'll see what ends up happening with him. Borgie, 1 receiving touchdown. Blocking wise, Terrell Crosby allowed 12. He gave up the most, but was still less than 1 a season. And actually, the offensive line in general did pretty well. It also helped that we had some scrambling quarterbacks. Nick Leverett allowed 4 as a starter. Adoga allowed 3 as a starter. Wes Martin was a backup, same as Deaton. James Hurst only allowed 1 as a starter. Billy Price, 0. And then in total on the team, Amadi actually led us in tackles with 79. He played the slot corner in the nickel and then would move out to the end in the base packages. He did really well this season, as well as Blake Cashman next up with 78. Tackles for a loss leader is Blake Cashman with 11, right behind, or not really right behind him, but next up is Shaka Toney with 8. Then Monty Rice had 7, so he came in and did a pretty solid job. Amadi had 6. 3 for Johnson, Reed, and Dillard, who not as impressive. I was hoping he would have some better numbers. As a rookie, though, not awful. Johnson had 1, as well as Artie Burns, Carter, Gemmel, Griffin, Hinton, Hackett, and Muse. And obviously with Shaka Toney's sack numbers, 28. Next best was actually Blake Cashman. He was sent on some blitzes and did really well with that, 6.5 for him. Then Dillard Potoe, who really only played a third of the season, 5 sacks. Fantastic. Behind him, Everson Griffin with 3.5, 2 for Cowart, 1.5 for Amadi, and then 1 for Carter, Hinton, and Davis, and then half a sack for Monty Rice and Jamar Johnson. Jamar Johnson as well as J.R. Reed, so our 2 safeties led us in interceptions, both with 2. Amadi, Johnson, Burns, and Cruikshank all had 1. Our forced fumble leader, Shaka Toney. Now apparently we didn't have any defensive touchdowns this season, so we gotta do better with that next season. And Brian Johnson, our kicker, was pretty solid. 12 of 12 on field goals, 37 of 39 on extra points. And if you like punting stats, we averaged about 38 yards a punt, down 4 inside the 20, with the long being 49. And in that last game, I'm pretty sure my first in Madden 23 or on Madden 23, Manny Fox did have a kick return touchdown. As for our offense, we had the least total yards gained. Do keep in mind we obviously play in the 8-minute quarters rather than 15, which is what the rest of them are simmed to be. So we're not really the worst offense, but definitely have some room to improve. Our passing touchdowns were in the bottom 5, rushing touchdowns in the bottom 10, and first downs, we had the least. Defensively, we gave up the least amount of yards. Again, 8-minute quarters versus 15, so keep that in mind, but still the defense was really solid for us. In terms of passing yards allowed, least. Rushing yards allowed, we were not the least. We were actually middle of the pack, bottom of the pack. Actually, yeah, we were one of the worst. So the rushing defense really needs to get better. And points given up, we were in the top 15, top 10, in the better half. But we were definitely the best sacking team, with 58 largely being led once again by Shaka Toney. And we did recover the second most amount of fumbles, so that's nice, but interception-wise, we were the second worst. So we'll see if our DB groups can step up next season. And just to confirm, Shaka Toney at the top of the season sack record with 28. Aiden Hutchinson now listed at 2 with his 23. But now time for the yearly awards, and the MVP went to Hugh Kinney, who I'm pretty sure is a rookie, so mad props there. And Shaka Toney not in the running. Coach of the year, Mike McCarthy. For the AFC, we'll go through these pretty quickly. Josh Jacobs, Offensive Player of the Year. TJ Watt, Defensive Player of the Year. Hugh Kinney, Offensive Rookie of the Year, so yep, answers that question. And Barry Shelton, Defensive Rookie of the Year, with Patrick Mahomes, Best Quarterback, Josh Jacobs, Best Running Back, Devontae Adams, Best Receiver, Creed Humphrey, Best O-Line, Myles Garrett, Best D-Line, TJ Watt, Best Linebacker, again, just be Edge Rush, Tre'Davious White, Best DB, and Graham Gano, Best Kicker. On the NFC side, our side, Offensive Player of the Year goes to Chris Godwin. Defensive Player of the Year is Shaka Toney. Did we have any other guys in the running? No. Offensive Rookie was Will Porter, with Campbell down at 3 and Manny Fox at 4. Now you have to remember also, Manny Fox was an undrafted rookie. We also had Marcus Turbin at 6. He was a drafted rookie. And Jeffrey Hales at 10, another undrafted rookie. Defensive Rookie of the Year went to Ladarius Conley. We had Keenan Dillard down at 8. Best Quarterback went to Jalen Hurts. Best Running Back, Ezekiel Elliott. And unfortunately, we do not have Borgie on this list. Best Receiver was Chris Godwin. Best O-Line, Jalen Boyce, with Billy Price, who did not allow a single sack, at 4. Best D-Line, you know it's going to be Shaka Toney. Best Linebacker, again, just Edge Rush, Danielle Hunter. Best DB, Trayvon Diggs. And Best Kicker, only missing 2, was Brian Johnson. So overall, we did fairly well in the annual awards there. And our division rivals, the Cowboys, squeeze out a Super Bowl win, 31-30 against the Dolphins. That will be the 6th Super Bowl championship, the 9th NFC championship for the Cowboys, and their left outside linebacker actually won the MVP vote. So I guess a lot of sacks, perhaps, maybe some interceptions, who knows? But that will wrap completely season 2, and for sure Shaka Toney is 100% from both sides the Defensive Player of the Year. Gotta love to see it. So here officially is where the off season begins. Not much to do in the staff week, so we'll go ahead and quickly get on over to the re-signing period, and I'm sure there's going to be some work to do there. Also do need to state before we start signing players, Everson Griffin does finally call it a career after he was able to come back for one more season with the replacement squad and play a significant part for us. So thank you, Griffin. Hope you enjoy retirement. But we have a lot of players to negotiate with, 28, and a lot of cap space to do it. However, we're going to have issues with the player interest, and if it's all the way down, there's really no point in trying to negotiate. You're gonna have to give them way too much money. So for some of these guys like Justin Ross, Monty Rice, we liked them, right? So we'll need to write their name, put them down to the side, and go back to them in open free agency, and hopefully not a whole lot of other teams are going after them. Now, Simi Fehoko does have interest in coming back. However, he did not produce a lot for us. I do have interest in bringing him back, but I also want to see what's in the open market. So for now, we're going to move on, and we'll come back to Simi Fehoko later. Unfortunately, Manny Fox, who was on the list at least of offensive rookies of the year and was solid for us, he doesn't have much interest either, so he's going to be another one we're going to have to try to come back for. Jesus Baca, I do want to bring back because he was a young guy. He didn't really have much of a chance to get out onto the field, but he does have some really good release. I don't want to pay a whole lot here though, so he's probably not going to like the yeah, he wants to play for a new team next year. I do still want to come back to him, but we'll see. Benning Patoe, though, I would love to bring back, and he does have some interest. I would like to make it a multi-year deal, and honestly, he was really good for us. So we'll give him a decent deal here. Hopefully he signs, and he will. He's our first signing of the offseason. Jack Cohn, we know, can be a solid backup quarterback for us, and he does have interest. So let's make him a decent deal here. He would be QB3, and he'll sign. But that's really all the signing we could do at this point, again, just due to that low interest or us just not wanting to keep someone around. So I'll write down the names of all the players I do want to bring back, and we'll make sure we'll address them in open free agency. Now let's talk about free agency rules. I already have my first 5 offers given out. Now, like I've mentioned, every year, the overall that we're allowed to go up to does go up. It started with 65, then it went up to 70. Now you can probably guess it, 75. Now, I do want to also make sure that we are growing fairly fast. I don't want to have to go through a bunch of different seasons to get to a spot where we are playoff contenders, right? So for this season, it'll tweak slightly because we've been in good favor of Goodell. We haven't done any more illegal things or questionable things. So the new rules are we could sign anyone, as many players as we want, up to 75 overall. We could then sign one player for both offense and defense who is between a 76 and an 80. For our defense, that player is going to be CJ Henderson. At least we're going to try. We do have the better offer compared to Minnesota, only 2 teams interested. He is a 77 overall, but he's 25 years old, so he's younger, he could develop, and if I remember correctly, he had a very interesting first year and then was traded away, I want to say, his second season, so he kind of fits the replacement squad kind of style, right? Has really good speed. I mean, he's a good athletic guy. I feel like we could use his ability. The other guys we have going up to that 75 overall, Andre James has some interest in the squad. Going to try to bring him in, not necessarily at center because Billy Price was really good for us, but maybe can move out to guard, at least provide some flexibility for us. At right outside linebacker, an actual linebacker, is Akeem Davis Gaithers, up to that 75, 26 years old. He doesn't have a lot of interest in coming here, but we're the only team to offer. And then right end, Mike Dana, again, the only team to offer, but he also has interest at right end. We'll see, essentially this is creating competition between him and the rookie, whose name is not coming to my head right now, Dillard. Dillard is the guy. Yeah, essentially creating some competition there, and then trying to bring back Monty Rice. We did have to pay a little bit more than probably what I would have preferred, but he was fairly decent for us, and he's on the younger side, 25 years old. So this will be the first round of offers. Let's go ahead and evaluate them if I click the right button. Evaluate first set, and I think maybe one person, we got the center. So the other ones are holding out for maybe some more interest, which Monty Rice does now have more interest from the Buccaneers. So let's go ahead and try to up that offer a bit. Honestly, off the top of my head, not sure what I offered previously. So let's see what 1.5 and 1, does that bump us up at all, or does that even go down? It has us about even, but we do still have the lead with Akeem Davis Gaithers, so I'm not pushing too hard on Monty Rice. Hopefully he signs. We'll see. But we do have space to add one more player. And I would really like to find a defensive tackle that could really come in and help us out. Now, we already have our guy on defense who's above that 75, so we need to have 75 or below. And one guy that I'm interested in is Marlon Davidson. He is 26, has some interest, only a 73 overall with 78 block shed, 82 strength. I feel like that is a little low. The other option I'm thinking is maybe Raekwon Davis, who's a big dude, 6'6", 330. He's going to have more strength but less block shedding, has 72 power moves while being 27. And similar, okay, so the power moves are similar. I think we go with the better option at run stopping, and I think that might be Davidson. So let's make a offer here. I don't remember if it said if there was any other teams interested, but let's just make this a 1 year, $5 million. That should probably be decent enough. And yeah, we're the only offer for him. So now we have a new set of 5. We are still on top for most of these guys. Let's go ahead and evaluate one more time. And we had one person sign, and that was CJ Henderson. So we do get a new corner. So we're looking better there. Are we still on top of everyone here? A little bit of interest coming in from the Browns for Davidson, but we have the better offer, and still basically tied for Monty Rice. So where do we go to next? I'm thinking of going after a receiver, and there is Noah Brown available. He's not a speedster with 88 speed, 88 acceleration, but he does have some of the best release for guys who we are allowed to pick up, who also has interest in us. And he has some decent route runnings, about mid-70s across the board, with some solid hands. And that might be good for us. We do have some young receivers that we definitely want to make sure we keep around. So we definitely do need to try to go back after Manny Fox. Hopefully he hasn't been picked up. But there's also Bo Melton, and they play a similar role there. So let's try this offer here for Noah Brown. See if he ends up taking that one. So for our last set of evaluations here in the first round, do we get any more guys to join? Okay, the board is cleared. And we have Henderson. Brown joins. We saw James. Gaithers joins. Dana joins. And Davidson joins. We do lose out on Monty Rice. That's fine. We end up picking up someone who could very well be better in Davis Gaithers, who's only a year older. So I'm fine with that. Solid first set here. We have a 77. So we have our guy on defense, the highest that we could pick up. We still could try to look for someone on offense who is between that 76 and 80. We do pick up one receiver and a center on offense, and then we get some help in the defensive front seven. So altogether, solid first set. Into stage 2 of free agency, now can I offer up to 10. And we've gone through, we've added one guy that will be our 76 to 80 on offense, and that's KJ Osborne. He's a very solid receiver for the Vikings in real life. I played with him in Madden 22 and he was really good. I don't know how good he does in Madden 23. He doesn't necessarily have a lot of release, but I know that he has some decent route running, solid hands, has the athleticism, so we'll see how well he could do for us. Also going after another starting corner in Trayvon Mullen. Now we had Umadi last season, who was, I feel like, our best. The other two were all right? But Umadi was like the guy from the cornerback group who mostly played in the slot, so the other two guys could go to the outside, and I'm making sure that they have some press ability. Also looking for some DTs. We have Fedarian Mathis, Tristan Hill, as well as Deshaun Hand. So a lot of these offers are small offers. They don't have any other interest from any other teams. So we'll see if any of them essentially join us for cheap, and fingers crossed they do. We also are trying to bring back some guys like Justin Ross, Manny Fox, Jeremy Ruckert, Jeffrey Hales, and Jesus Baca. Baca does have interest in us, so he might take the lower deal compared to a lot of these other guys who really don't have a whole lot of interest. So let's evaluate. Let's see if we get any more people. And 2 people are no longer on the board. So Osborne does join. That's fantastic. And Trayvon Mullen. So we do have 2 new starters at the cornerback spot, which is fantastic. And both of these guys have some press ability, not as much with CJ Henderson 75 compared to the 83 with Mullen. But you could tell that I'm leaning more towards the man. I love a press man corner. They both have some solid size, 6'2", 200, 6'1", 200. So really like that size. And there wasn't much available of that in the next draft, or in this draft class. So we're able to address that position in free agency, which opens up further options for us to go after other spots in the draft. So I like that part. There is some interest from the Steelers on Deshaun Hand, but we still have the better offer there. And no one else really seems to have any other interest. There's not really any other spot I necessarily want to go after now either. So we're just going to continue evaluating with these guys, and hopefully they will start to join. Just make sure, okay, there was some interest that popped up for someone, but then disappeared. Deshaun Hand now has Steelers and the Browns, but we still have the better offer. And that's the same across the board. Let's evaluate one more time. And more interest coming in for Mathis. We are still on the top there-ish, about tied actually with the Cardinals. Still have the lead with Deshaun Hand. And a lot of the other guys haven't seemed to join yet. But Jeremy Ruckert did decide to come back, so we're now full at tight end, which is good. We'll go ahead and get on over to the next period, and hopefully some people join. And now into stage 3, it looks like the interest on Mathis did drop off, so no problem there. Hill, no interest. Ross, no interest. At least from any other teams, no. And no one signed while simming over weeks, so once again, we'll just keep evaluating here, see if anyone ends up joining. And all but 3 remain, so let's evaluate again. All contracts have been signed. So the people we've added to the roster for season 3, KJ Osborne, CJ Henderson, Trayvon Mullen Jr., Noah Brown, Andre James, Akeem Davis Gaithers, Mike Dana, Fedarian Mathis, Marlon Davidson, Tristan Hill, Justin Ross comes back, Deshaun Hand, Manny Fox returns, Jeremy Ruckert returns, Hales returns, and Baca returns. So overall, I think that was a pretty good free agency for us. Don't know why that word escaped me, but now we can focus more towards the draft. Now time for the big spectacle. Draft has started, but we obviously need to talk about what our plans are, and it can be kind of chaotic. Our guy, the guy we have talked about all season about wanting to go after, the quarterback, James Cody out of Boston College, is the dude. A round one projection, a top 5 talent. And when I say he's the dude, he's the dude. 6'2", 206, 22 years old. He's a scrambler archetype who will take calculated risks, has a beautiful spiral, could use some improvement in recognizing pressure, but it's fine, we're going to be the one controlling him. Does well to avoid sacks by throwing the ball away, also solid, loves to run and play outside of structure, which is good, helps avoid sacks, and fast motion that emphasizes a high release. Perfect. On top of that, dude runs a sub 4.3 at quarterback with great throw power. You probably can't see that because it's behind me, but great throw power, good strength, elite speed, elite jumping, elite change of direction, elite agility, elite acceleration. Everything looks fantastic with this guy. A awareness. I mean, it's almost A's across the board. The only things that aren't A's are B trucking, B deep, and short accuracy, and then C injury and play action. So we definitely need to make sure he's not taking a lot of hits. But he's our dude for sure. But he's a top 5 projected player. And we don't pick until the 14th selection. Now, is there a way to actually view the mock drafts while you're in the draft? If there is, I can't seem to find where it is, but I do remember in the mock 5, he was projected to go with the 7th pick, I want to say, it was the Falcons. So essentially, the first quarterback needy team, we're going to have to trade up to try to get him. Jacksonville should not be a problem for us, but the Texans could be. The Bears could be. Rams potentially could be. So we might have to trade up immediately to grab our guy. We will go ahead and get past this first pick because very much I assume we're not going to have to worry about the Jaguars. At least we shouldn't have to. So next pick, Jaguars go Gavin Boss, the top projected player in the draft, left tackle out of Wisconsin. And the Texans have not addressed quarterback. They still have rocked with Davis Mills. So that makes me worried. Traditionally, the Texans don't go with anyone or they don't really draft anyone. They stick with Mills. Does he have the tag? No. So potentially they could replace him. So we might need to trade up to the 2nd pick. So if we try to do that, can we get offers here? What do the Texans want? They want our current first. No, future first, our current 2, and then future 3. That seems really light to get up to the 2nd from spot 14. I feel like we should trade up with our first pick and then go from there. Maybe a future 2 and then another later round pick this year. We'll see. We'll see what the Texans are interested in. But I feel like this is the safest thing to do. Try to trade up as early as possible. So we'll give them our 14. We can give them, I've already passed it, our future 2. And then maybe our current 4. Let's see if they're interested in that. Submit offer. They are. We've moved up to the 2nd pick. And you know who we're going after. We're going after the quarterback for sure. I expect this guy is going to be really good. I'll be really disappointed if he's not. But let's make our selection going after our future quarterback. Hopefully star or superstar. X Factor would even be fantastic. But you know what I mean. A future star in the NFL. James Cody out of Boston College is a hidden dev. 92 throw power. 97 speed. 81 jumping, 97 change of direction, 96 agility, 96 acceleration. I don't even think we need to hand the ball off to any of the running backs. Cody's just going to run around, throw the ball, and, well, run around. So the future is looking bright. Now we don't pick until the second round, but we do keep that second round pick, which is nice. I was assuming we were going to have to use that and our first, plus maybe a future first to get up to the second spot, but very much seemed like the Texans were trying to get out of that spot. So where do we go from here? All right, we have that second round pick. We have all of the normal picks, obviously minus the 4 that we traded. The other needs, I was really hoping to find a DT in this class that could come in with some amazing run stopping ability. And unfortunately, there's not a whole lot of options there that we know for sure. There is Bryce Bynes, around 1 to 2 projection, who seems to be at least a dual athlete or a dual style of DT, has the B block shedding and the B finesse. So like he has 2 ways to help us out, but no one has that A block shedding with a B rush. There is DeMarcus Shepard, another round 1 to 2, who could be a nice nickel DT for us out of Wisconsin, but I was really hoping Dakota Duan was going to have A block shed because that was A to C right until the week of the draft. Found out that was a C. Was really, again, hoping it would be the other way. Mike Bright could potentially be that way. Just hard to go after some of these guys if you don't know for sure that they have that elite block shedding, which is something we've been missing. Jaleel Williams is available, who does have that A, but it doesn't really have much of anything else to back that up. And at right end, there is Stephen Fields, who does have that B to D. Again, nothing guaranteed, but there isn't any of those A's. At center, very interested in Bobby Murphy, around 3 to 4. I would definitely take him in the third if he's available. He honestly could very well even be a second round talent or even first to second. So if there's no one else that we find in the second round, we could definitely go towards Bobby Murphy. Feel like he could be a starter for us. But essentially, that second round pick is now kind of a do with whatever is best still there. Rashad Mayweather does look like he could be pretty solid as well at middle linebacker. He's young, 21 years old. He has pretty decent speed, strength as well. His skills look really solid. A awareness, A zone, B man with B tackle, B to C block shed, B play recognition. Could be really solid if he's available in the second round. So let's just start getting to that second round pick. I want to make a lot of our picks, meaning I don't want to trade away any more of our picks. So we're just going to get to our second round pick and see who's available. And it does look like there are still some round 1 to 2s, seeing some offensive linemen, some receivers. Not looking to go after any receivers early on. I feel like we're pretty solid there. But yeah, so it does look like the guys we were more so interested in have gone. Talking about the defensive linemen and the linebackers. Best left end available is around 3 to 4. Right end, there is a 2 to 3 in Mathis Logan, who does look like he has some pass rush ability. Does not provide any sort of block shedding, and we already have multiple guys with that skill set. Defensively, Dakota Duan still there with the full C spectrum. Don't love it. Linebackers, there is Greg Ellerby as an A to C zone coverage, but listed as an outside linebacker. I do not trust that at all. So unless they're like that in the third or fourth round, I'm not going to take a shot on them. They could be really good, but the likelihood of it, I don't trust it. Owen Peak around 2 to 3 has the B to D, but nothing else really helping us out there. Perhaps a safety could be of interest. I would like someone to potentially take over J.R. Reed. I just don't feel like he had a great second season. First season was solid. Second, not as much. So looking more for a hybrid or a run support. There is Dakota Clark, who's around 2 to 3. And some more round 2 to 3s over at strong safety. The round 1 to 2s, they don't necessarily look fantastic. Maybe Andrew Burton, 5'11", 206, 23 years old. And he has some solid speed. Strength actually isn't bad either. And what is his block shed is a D, tackling C. Doesn't seem to really fit the stereotype for strong safeties that I prefer. There is a round 1 to 2 offensive lineman in Jeremiah Ashmore, who went up 12 spots, but he has D run block, kind of a killer for us there. Aaron White at left guard around 2 to 3 does look a little bit better. There's also Justin Atkinson, who looks like he could be pretty solid in the round 2 to 3. Still really like these two centers actually in both from Oklahoma State, and George Sanchez and Bobby Murphy. And then there's Brandon Fitzsimmons, round 1 to 2, but just has the C pass block. The other guys are better. And I'll say even Grayson Hall looks like he potentially could be better, or at least very similar to. So offensive line, I don't think we have to go after early. And with us not really having that clear-cut guy to go after, I'm considering making a trade here. So let's see what all is available. We could get a future 2 and a 7, so we could regain a 2 that we do not have next year, and a future 7. Don't think I love that. I wouldn't be against regaining a future 2 and then maybe picking up a later pick this season, or in this draft. And from the Raiders, this is a little bit more of what I was thinking. Trade away this pick, get back our 2 next season, and pick up a 3 this season. That is not too bad. Plus, they're the only ones to really offer that kind of pick. So let's go ahead and let's go with it. Raiders, you could have this pick. There was no one that I felt like we needed to go after in this spot. So we'll get back the 2. So we really only traded, what, our current, our 1. So they dropped back, and then we essentially just gave them a 4. Not too bad. And speaking of, what did they want, or who did they want to pick up? Dakota Duan, the DT. Interesting. We'll check him out from the Raiders because I was interested in him. Just didn't think he had the true ratings that we were looking for to fill the role we needed. But now into the 3rd round. At this spot, I'm thinking one of those offensive linemen that we were talking about earlier. If the center Murphy is still available, probably the guy we would go after, and indeed he is available. So let's go ahead and pick up Bobby Murphy. He's listed at center. We'll see where he best fits on the squad, but he was a guy I definitely wanted to pick up, and he's a hidden dev. 88 strength, 74 speed, 78 jumping with 81 acceleration, 21 years old. That is not a bad pick at all. Now late in the 3rd round, so essentially almost a 4th round pick, as it's the 30th pick in the 3rd round. So really, we ended up with that 3rd round pick replacing the 4th round pick that we lost. We got back our 2. So we really just moved up and swapped picks to bring in James Cody. I love that. I feel like that worked out perfect for us. So let's make our selection. Hopefully there's someone that we want to go after. I'm thinking potentially trying to find a DT. We'll see what all is available. But I did mention earlier, in like the 3rd or 4th round, if one of the linebackers, that's an outside linebacker, is available with that A to C, we might consider him. A round 2 to 3 projection would be the latter part. 23 years old. What do your physicals look like? I mean, solid speed, not fantastic strength, with some decent agility and change of direction, acceleration. Play rec is not very good. We don't know about the awareness. Tackling is mid. F hit power. I don't think he's our guy. Another option at outside backer with that A to C is Landon Holman. RDC block shedding is an F, so that is of major concern considering we already were one of the worst run stoppers last season. Does have better awareness. I don't know. I've been burned so many times by the outside linebackers I don't trust. And once again, I just don't think there's anyone in this specific spot that I am really wanting to pick up. Like, there's some guys I'm like, I could take a shot on, but I don't fully trust, right? So how about we trade here with the Bills and pick up a 4 and a 6, because if a 4 and a 6 end up not working out, it's much better than a first 3 round guy not working out. So we'll make that trade, and hopefully we'll find some good guys later on in the draft. So the Bills trade up and they select middle linebacker out of North Dakota, Tavon Irving. Now, we don't pick for about half a round, so we go ahead and jump onto that pick. And in the 4th round, I would be much more likely to start taking guesses on some guys. So let's see who's available now. And I definitely do want to make a pick with our remaining picks. And this is where I think I'm finally going to pick up my DT. Jeffrey Osgood is a projected day 3, but he has some solid size, 6'5", 306, 22 years old out of Kansas State. Shows good discipline and won't get flagged much, so that's always nice. And he's a physical player, delivers bone-crushing hits. So there's some some good things that we're seeing there with some solid, decent strength here. 31 to 35 reps. He's not a fast guy, but don't expect him to be. But he does have some agility and some quickness to him, so that's always nice. His skill set, we don't know for sure, but we know at the minimum, he's going to have that C across the board, where the block shedding, finesse, and power moves are all going to be C. Power moves could go up to even an A. Tackling isn't going to be a strong suit, but he does have at least some starting points with awareness and play recognition. So we're going to take a shot on Jeffrey Osgood here, see what he ends up becoming. Normal dev with 87 strength will go up to a 91. 82 acceleration, not bad. Now into the 5th round, we still have multiple pass cover outside linebackers listed. So why not pick up one of the falling pass cover guys at left outside linebacker? And I'm going to go with Greg Ellerbe, just because his ceiling for certain ratings could be a lot better than what they could be with the other guy. Holman, I believe was his name. Just remind myself here of the athletics. I mean, can be quick, not going to be very strong. Has B to D man, A to C zone, C tackling, B to D awareness. The D play rec is not great. He's not going to hit very hard, but could potentially be a developmental guy. Why not? We'll go with Greg Ellerbe. Normal dev with 84 speed, 88 acceleration, 78 agility. So we'll see. Still have a few picks left in this draft now. I think the quarterback that I liked as a developmental guy is no longer there. It's fine. Probably just need to focus on developing one quarterback at this point. I don't think we need to address the running back. There was Juan McKinney who looked like he had some interesting attributes, but with us bringing back all the running backs from last year, I think we're solid there. Clayton Hartwell at day 3 really just had good release. Everything else kind of bad. Always consider bringing in a late tight end, but all these guys are going to be potential undrafteds, as it looks like most of the offensive line has also gone from our list. Any more defensive line? There is Deshaun McGee here. He's listed as a potential undrafted, but he does have some interesting ratings. He's also pretty small, 5'11", 260, 22 years old, so he would be sitting in that same spot as Shaka Toney. Does not have much strength, but everything else looks really good there. Skills, does not come with any block shedding. We've seen this skill set several times. A power moves, A tackle, B awareness. There are some really good things here. But we have Shaka Toney, and then we also have, was it Terrell Davis? I think is the rookie last season who was in that week 18 game who was really good. I just don't think it's a skill set we need to go after once again. If he's still there as an undrafted, sure. Instead, what I would want to go after is more of the potential to have the block shedding rating. So like Isaiah Connor, B to D for block shed and power moves. Stephen Spiller has B to D for block shed, B for finesse, which we know for sure. Cedric Mayo, I talked about earlier, B to D block shed, A to C for the power moves as well as tackling. And then Marco Adams, gonna be strictly a pass rusher. Does not have much of the block shedding. So I think we go with one of these guys. It just depends on who we think could be better. And I think if you have anyone with 2 attributes that are going to be A to a C, you got to go more their way. So Cedric Mayo, 6'2", 297, good discipline. Always love to see that. Physicals, decent strength, not very fast at all. Quickness included in that. F play rec, not fantastic, nor is C awareness, but has some developing ratings. So I think here, with just the 3 left, we also have a pick in like 2 picks. We're going to go with Cedric Mayo. Potential undrafted. We're going to end up picking him up. Hopefully, pans out well for us. Normal dev with 80 strength. We'll go up to 84. Not a lot of speed, but that's what we knew. Now I think it might be time to catch another falling linebacker in Landon Holman. The block shed being an F is really concerning, but we need some guys to develop because we haven't really found a lot of that, nor do we have much in terms of backup linebackers at this point. Really only starters. The B awareness is good. Play recognition, we're not sure. Everything else could be solid. I mean, A to C tackle, A to C zone, B to D. There is some intrigue here, and with a 6th round pick, a late 6th round pick at that, I think we could take a shot here on the Texas Tech linebacker. 5'11", 223, 22 years old. We'll see how good he is. We're going to pick him up. Normal dev with 84 speed, 89 acceleration with 77 change of direction. Now we're at our last pick, and we still have 23 players on the board. Who is going to get our selection? I think we take the guy that we know has really good, at least a really good talent in Deshaun McGee. Obviously, we know that this spot already has several guys, but we know it only really has 2 guys. Maybe we could develop McGee a little bit as well. We know that this archetype has worked well for us. It also has A tackling. So let's pick up Deshaun McGee, and hopefully he could do some solid things. 81 speed with 86 acceleration off the edge. Not bad. 71 strength. Now it's time to meet the full class. And before we open it up, the objectives, really, were to get 3 impact starters. We were hoping for the quarterback, which we got. We were hoping for an offensive lineman that we maybe got. We got the guy that we wanted. We'll see if he ends up being good. We were hoping for an impact starter on the defensive line on the interior. That part we don't know about. We also picked up some depth guys, most likely going to be projects at linebacker. How good do they turn out? As we view our draft recap, James Cody is a 79. I was hoping he was going to end up being like an 82 or something, but 79 might not be bad. What do those ratings look like? 92 throw power with 77 deep, 81 medium, and 82 short. Throw on the run is an 87. Break sack is an 80. Throw under pressure, 81. But it's his ability, not necessarily with the ball in his arm, but with his feet. 97 speed, 96 acceleration, 96 agility. Carrying is a 79. Change of direction is a 97. Juke is a 91. We essentially got like a Lamar Jackson, but even faster. So switching to that college style offense ahead of this draft might have just put us in an even better spot. Past him, we did pick up a center. We'll see if he ends up staying there in Murphy, who is I think it's 73, is receiving a +1 after you take out the morale with coaching boost essentially, but he is our second hidden dev player. His ratings would not be too bad after you take out the negatives. A 77 run block with 76 pass block. The run block power does need some work, but the finesse is starting capable. Awareness also really solid. Injury is a 98, so solid there with some speed, acceleration. Lead block, where are you? 84. I'm thinking a guard, a possible pulling guard. He should be solid at that spot. He's also coming in as the 32nd ranked center, so already he's starting caliber at center for sure. Then past them, we started to go for some guesses. McGee's a 72, by the way. But let's go through each of them individually. Osgood was the DT we eventually ended up settling on. What round was it that we ended up taking? Was it the 4th or the 3rd? It was the 4th. So guys, 65 in the 4th round, not an awful pick. Normal dev is getting some boost, 91 strength. Power moves is a 71 with a block shed 69. So definitely does need to develop, but he's a guy who you can develop to play both of the DT spots in the nickel as well as the base packages. Then we went and captured our first falling player in Greg Ellerby, an outside linebacker who was projected around 2 to 3. We took him in the 5th. He has some ratings you could try to develop a little bit, but definitely is not going to be making a push at all for the starting. Maybe we'll be a practice squad player. Maybe we'll make the roster strictly for depth. We'll see, depending on what all is available after. We then took a shot on another DT in Cedric Mayo, who ends up being a 59. Definitely expected him to be better than a 59. So the DT group was not as good as I thought it originally was. 84 strength, does have the 70 power move, 66 block shedding. Definitely a practice squad player for sure, but does have 99 injury, so he's at least durable. We bounce back slightly in overall with our next pick, the second in the 6th round, again capturing another falling guy in Landon Holman, another outside linebacker, who is up to a 63 with a boost. And yeah, definitely still needs some work. Athleticism is there, tackling ability, not awful, but doesn't have the block shedding and doesn't really have the cover ability. So these two linebackers most likely will be practice squad guys, and hopefully they'll develop some there. And a pick that we potentially should have made earlier on, Deshaun McGee, ends up being a 72 with the +1 to 73. He's coming in immediately with some impact power moves, 78, which is what we expected he could do. Block shedding not there, finesse moves not really there. He's a one-trick pony, but again, so was Shakatoni, so was Davis, and we've seen them be effective in our defensive scheme. I expect no less from McGee, who will probably see some time in the preseason. I don't really show those with this because we already really know who our starters are, but McGee and Davis should allow us to get a better rotation at that left end spot. Not that we want Shakatoni off the field very much at all anyway, but a nice pickup in the 7th round. Now, I did talk about checking Duan, which we traded the Raiders our pick. They ended up picking him up. We weren't sure about him, and it looked like we probably should have been. 6'2", 318, only a normal dev, but he is a 73 up to a 75. He doesn't have, honestly, a whole lot more block shedding, though, than some of our other guys, but 99 strength, 81 tackle, 85 acceleration, good play rec, good speed. I think he would have been a solid guy to pick up, for sure. We ended up not, we missed out on him. But I just had to check, and James Cody is the fastest player in this draft class at quarterback. I love to see it. And here is where we will end the offseason, going through the roster. We do now have 2 players in the 80s. Osborne is receiving some boosts that take him above the 80. We'll talk about that shortly. And James Cody comes in as already our 3rd best player. Obviously, he's going to be starting, and I imagine we'll keep Tyler Huntley as the main backup this season, just in case, because sometimes the scrambling quarterbacks, their fatigue just tanks what they're able to do. So potentially having 2 will be a solid option. We also have Jack Cohn in case of possible injury. Knock on wood, that doesn't happen. Running backs stay the same, Borgie, Turbin, and Hales. We are keeping around Nick Bodden strictly for the goal line formation, so it doesn't take one of our offensive linemen and put them at tight end and then move a tight end to a fullback. Now, as I was talking about with Osborne, it does obviously move him up to an 81 and moves Noah Brown up to a 78. So we technically have 2 new receivers that are higher than that 75. I will leave it up to you guys to decide if we end up keeping both, since they were signed lower than the mandatory that we were allowed, being the anyone 75 and below than 1 player on offense between 76 and 80. So that's the look we're going to go with for now. Again, let me know. These first 2 starters will be Osborne and Brown, and then Ross will be the next man up. I plan on Osborne being a slot guy for us, but since we have a lot of 4 receiver sets, Bo Melton will still get a lot of looks, and we'll try to get Manny Fox out there as well. The reason Manny Fox is kind of the odd man out with that slot group is because he got injured a lot last season, so we'll try to be cautious with him. Jesus Baca is another guy I want to get out there, see a little bit more of this season, and we did end up signing an undrafted rookie in Deontay Brockers, who is actually a star dev. For some reason, we already know that. Don't know, but we do. He's a 68 though, has some intriguing ratings, so I'd like to see if he could find his way out in the field at all as well. Tight ends still the same, Alton Campbell, Jeremy Rucker, and Brock Wright. Chuma Adonga will continue to be our starting left tackle, with Bobby Murphy, the guy we drafted, moving over to left guard. We have Wes Martin and RJ Bradshaw as backups. And at center, a little bit of a dilemma. Andre James is higher overall and younger, so he will be getting the start. But Billy Price was really good last year, didn't allow a single sack, but he's also 29 years old, and we don't really have a spot on the offense that would really see an improvement from him being moved there. Nick Leverett, a 73, also younger at right guard. We do also have Wyatt Davis as a backup. And then at right tackle, we have a 28-year-old, 73 overall Tyrell Crosby. So not necessarily any positions we need to move around, so we'll see what we do with Billy Price. At left end, Shaka Toney obviously going to be getting the start with Deshaun McGee as the number 2 and Trevor Davis as the number 3. Try to get them rotating fairly often so they all have a chance, because they've all, well, I say Toney and Davis have shown that they could perform well. We don't know about McGee, but the same kind of build, I would imagine that he would. At right end, we do have Mike Dana as well as Keenan Dillard. We'll see who has the hot hand while they're playing, and if someone's not performing, we'll switch them out. Same even for Benning Patoe. Really want to make sure all 3 of these guys are getting playing time, and whoever plays the best will continue to be the starter. At DT, all of the rookies that we picked up are all on the practice squad. So all the guys we signed in free agency are sticking with the team. Tristan Hill did go up a little bit, so again, similar to the receivers, if you don't want him there, as he was technically with the boost higher than the 75, we can go ahead and let him go. I don't have any problem with that. Just let me know what you guys think and we'll adjust accordingly. And also, similarly to last year, some of these guys are going to be more of the rush DTs and some are going to be more of the pass DTs. At left outside linebacker, Tanner Muse has found his way back into the starting lineup, despite not really being that great. He's just best of what's available to us. Linebackers have continued to be a problem, which is why we've moved another safety to linebacker after last year's trial. Didn't really work out. We found Nick Robertson and moved him from a strong safety to a left outside linebacker. He's only a 63 overall, but he's one of our best cover backers. We'll see if he finds a way out onto the field. Akeem Davis-Gaithers moves to middle linebacker and is our highest rated linebacker. Greg Ellerby did make the final roster, strictly just due to we just didn't want to sign anyone else who really wasn't all that great anyway, so we're going to give the rookie a chance, see if he could earn a spot. Blake Cashman, great for us last year, will be one of our main starters, and Jeremiah Gemmel will be pretty much our primary backup. At corner, CJ Henderson and Trayvon Mullen Jr. will get the starts on the outside, with Amadi in the slot. Backing up, we have Artie Burns and Danny Johnson. Free safety Jamar Johnson will continue as our starter, and Chad Hackett as our backup. Strong safety J.R. Reed continuing with that spot. Didn't really find anyone I necessarily wanted to switch him out with. We also had picked up last year with a practice squad spot Afedi Melifonwu. We'll see how well he does as the backup there. Both of those guys very similar in terms of overall, but gonna give the edge to J.R. Reed as he has much better zone coverage. We do have new kickers. Dicker the kicker is in the squad, and then at punter we have a rookie in Chris Witt. On the practice squad, Thomas Booker IV goes back there. Jerry Walden, I think, was an undrafted, or no, second-year player I had picked up after the draft. He's also going to be moving there, as well as Chris Grayson, another undrafted rookie. Tevin Bethel, we did end up bringing back, this time just to the practice squad. Jeffrey Osgood, one of the DTs, headed there. An undrafted rookie running back, a parent undrafted kicker that the CPU, I'm pretty sure, signed. Miles Bailey, a undrafted rookie safety. Landon Holman, one of the linebackers we drafted. Chauncey Abraham, I want to say he was in the first draft class. He's headed back to the practice squad. The DT that I thought might have been good ended up not really being very good. He's on the practice squad. And then a quarterback, just in case, going to be more of a scramble type in case Cone ends up not really being able to run this new style of offense. But that brings us all the way to day 1 of season 3. So make sure you guys are subscribing. Either scroll down below or just hit my bear icon in the bottom right and tick the bell icon so you're notified of when these videos go live. This series posted every Monday and Thursday, the state only challenge posted every Wednesday and Saturday, and then the noob to pro my player career on FIFA 23 every Tuesday and Friday. So 6 videos every week. Next time we'll find out how well this new quarterback plays and how well the offense, defense in general has improved. Up to a 73 offense, 75 defense, 73 overall. So until next time, where we see them actually take the field, we'll see you later. Bye.